Today I woke up from a text from one of my fitness coaching clients asking why somebody was still receiving weigh-in reminder text messages even though they had already completed their weigh-in. So here are the details. At the end of 2025, I had built a 8-week weight loss challenge for a longtime client of mine. In addition to his online fitness coaching, he also has a brick and mortar smoothie and supplement shop. In that shop, he has one of those eVolt scanners. So he was talking to me about how he has always done these weight loss challenges from time to time and how time consuming they were. I floated the idea to him that we could automate all this stuff using HighLevel, which we did. So that was a success. Come May, he's thinking, why don't we do it again? So we did. And this is what caused the text. One of the people who signed up for the challenge in May signed up the day of weigh-ins and didn't actually use the calendar scheduling function to schedule his weigh-in because he knew that it was going on. He called the shop, made the payment, and then just did the weigh-in. So he's still receiving texts. He's receiving the texts because the automation relied on him using the calendar to end the automation of reminder text messages. So the problem wasn't the automation itself. The problem was that the workflow assumes perfect user behavior. Now I'm going to take a minute to show you exactly how to add someone to a workflow and remove them within HighLevel. Because honestly, any fitness coach who's running automations should know how to do this. So the first thing that we're going to want to do is navigate to the contacts section within HighLevel right here. Once we've done that, there are a few different ways to add a contact to a workflow. Now we can do it individually, and as you'll see right here, you can trigger automation by clicking here. That's to go ahead and add them to the workflow. Or we can do all of them that are on the page by clicking here. Or if you have more contacts than are visible on this page, we can go ahead and select all. That would select however many you might have within your contact list. So once we've done that, we'll go ahead and click trigger automation. Now under action name, this is useful for tracking changes that have been made. So you might want to add why you're doing, what you're doing, and the date. That's generally how I do it. Then you're going to select the workflow that you want to add them to. I'm just going to put some gobbledygook in here because we're just doing this for demonstration. Add to workflow, and then the workflow that we'll go ahead and use for right now, we'll just go ahead and do 3-day meal plan delivery. We'll go ahead and add to automation. So we'll dismiss this. We can check progress. I don't usually do that, dismiss it and go do something else within the platform. Once we've done that, we can go ahead and go into automation if we want to see what's being done. Like I said, I added them to the 3-day meal plan. I'll go ahead and go into this folder and we'll check out the workflow 3-day meal plan delivery. So here's a way to remove them. If we go into enrollment history, this shows all the people who have been added and are currently in the workflow. We can look at their execution path, so what they've gone through so far. As far as execution, as you can see, they were just added, right? And then other parts of the workflow. So what we're going to want to do to remove somebody is, it's pretty simple. You just click here, remove this contact from the workflow. Once we do that, they're gone, and any sort of automations at that point would stop. If you're a fitness coach looking to build systems that actually save you time and remove stress instead of adding chaos, subscribe to this channel because that's exactly what I'm going to be documenting here. Since we're looking at enrollment history, why don't we look at a few other things that can be done with a workflow? I showed you how you can remove somebody from a workflow within enrollment history, but I want to talk about a couple other things that you can do. In addition to being able to remove a contact from a workflow, we can go ahead and force them to the next step. So let's say that you have somebody that's been added to a workflow and they didn't click some sort of trigger link for a double opt-in, but you know that you have the right email address and you want to make sure that they get the lead magnet anyways. Something that we could do is we could go ahead and go right here and force the contact to the next step in the workflow. That would ensure that the lead magnet gets sent to their email even though they might not have clicked a link for a double opt-in. Another thing that we might want to do is view the execution history of the contact. We can do that by clicking right here where it says view execution history. And this is a little different than the workflow progress like we looked at earlier, where it's just going to give us a list view of what they've gone through. Now let's talk about one other way that we can add or remove somebody from a workflow. All right, so we're going to want to navigate back to the contacts section of HighLevel. Once we're there, we're going to go ahead and click on Mike Jones right here. And we want to go to the actions pane. Once we're there, go to the workflows dropdown, click it right here. As you can see, Mike Jones is currently getting the 3-day meal plan. That's part of a workflow that he's in, and it shows that he hasn't completed any workflows. So first, we're going to go ahead and add him to another one. We can do that by clicking the plus right here. We can do any of them that we want. We'll just go ahead and do this consistency checklist delivery. Now, if we put a start date here or a start time, we can schedule when they're added this automation. That can be useful for a couple different things, maybe some sort of emails that you want to send out to somebody. And then go ahead and, if you don't put anything in here, if we click add, it will go ahead and just add them right now. So as you can see, Mike Jones is now in the 3-day meal plan and the consistency checklist workflows. Now, we can also remove them from workflows right here in the contact details page. And all we're going to do is we're just going to click the X right next to the workflow and then confirm by clicking remove right here. I'm going to go ahead and refresh this page so that you can see when someone's completed a workflow. So if we go back to this workflows drop down again, right here, you can see that he's completed the checklist. We know that he didn't complete it, which is actually important for you to recognize. Seeing that somebody has completed a workflow doesn't mean they've completed it. It just means that they were in it at some point in time. They could have been manually removed. So why does this matter? It matters because even though the systems within HighLevel for automation are incredibly powerful, they often still require a little bit of human oversight. Like I talked about, this guy came in, he went and did his weigh-in, he paid for the product, but he didn't follow any of the workflow because everything was just done in person. So he continued to receive the text messages and the emails even after purchase because he didn't end the automation. And what he needed to do to end the automation per the workflow was schedule an appointment using a calendar within HighLevel. That's what triggered the end of the workflow. Now, the reason it was important for us to make sure that the end of that workflow was triggered was because the end of that workflow put him into another workflow which schedules text messages and emails for weigh-in reminders for the weigh-in at the end of the challenge. And neither myself nor Keith are going to want to send this guy text messages just because he didn't go through the automation in the way that he needed to, or we rather wanted him to.